Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em. If he reach, then I'll pop 'em. Street sweeper, I'll wash 'em. Homicide, come and chalk 'em. Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll lock 'em. Up 'em.
You are now tuned into the Boxing Bros. I'm Caden, and you may notice that TBE is missing. He's taking the day off again. And here my co-host.
What's going on with everybody? It's the commissioner, aka Trill Dollar Bill.
And this is Chef Boy RG, but I was wrong. I'm starting that off. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. Sometimes a chef messes up. You know what I mean?
Sometimes. Most times. Yo. But before we dive in, I want everyone to please say congratulations in the comment section to my nephew, Zombie Ray, who is officially a United States Marine after graduating. Salute, nephew.
I'm a little nervous now, but I'm still salute that. I'm nervous, but I'll salute.
Salute, man. The grind it took and the hard work. I'm so proud of him, man. And it was just beautiful seeing that. So salute to my nephew, give him a congratulations, and salute the Papa Trill for raising a soldier, literally.
I'm super proud, man. I'm beyond proud, man. I'm beyond happy, man. I'm still.
Yo, Trill, don't forget, you might want to get one of them Marine stickers and put it on your car. I heard you got some tickets with that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, give me one of those.
All right, them stickers.
The first topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is our reaction to Dillian Whyte versus Jermaine Franklin, which turned out to be a controversial decision. And I'm turning it over to Conspira G. What was your reaction to the fight?
All right, well, first I'll start off by saying I'd like to apologize to my man Jermaine Franklin. I know last week I was, pretty much talking. You were shipped in food, you were soul food, going in there, and I was wrong. You rose to the occasion. Well, first I'll say this. I wasn't necessarily impressed by Dillian Whyte, but because it seemed like Dillian Whyte and his trainer was trying to figure it out as they were going, I'm gonna kind of give Dillian a little pass. So I'm gonna highlight a couple of things that I did like from Dillian. I actually like the Joe Frazier, George Foreman defense that he was doing. I think that's good for his type of chin because it prevents uppercuts. So I think he should utilize that moving forward in his arsenal, But yeah, that's about it on the Dillian front. Oh, hold on, I'm lying. And I liked his body work. You know what I mean? Like the hooks to the body. I thought he did all right. You know what I'm saying? Like now, this is what Dillian is known for, so it's not like something new. You know what I mean? But I like how he utilizes it all throughout the fight. So, that was 2 pluses for Dillian. But when it came to Jermaine, though, I like the fact that Jermaine was, for one, wasn't even intimidated at the fact that he was in the UK and the fact that, Dillian Whyte is a bigger name and this is his first 12-round fight. It seemed like none of that fazed him. You know what I mean? He was faster than I expected. Like, I kid you not. You could look at like Jermaine's like old fights, on YouTube. He's slow, he's sluggish. And you're like, oh man, I don't know, man. Like, he's gonna get violated by Dillian. But this dude seemed like whatever he did in training camp, man, he became a new man. He had a fast jab, fast hooks. He had good weaving. His feet placement was great. Anytime like Dillian would try to circle around him, he always stayed, like he always pivoted with Dillian, and he has a solid chin. He took a couple of like real shots from Dillian, and he ate those like Scooby snacks. You know what I'm saying? And also to Dillian's defense too, Dillian took some pretty hard shots as well, and he also ate those. So I'm gonna say the fight seemed like really close. It was like neck and neck. When I first watched it, because I watched it twice. The first time I watched it, I was like, I'm not even gonna score this because I know Dillian's gonna knock him out. But as I'm watching, I'm like, yo, what's going on here? Like, why is it so close? You know, and I'm just like, oh man. And I ended up by like, I think it was like maybe round 4. I started rooting for Franklin. I was like, oh shoot, this dude really in there, you know? So then I was like, all right, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. Before we record, I'm gonna watch it again. I'm actually score it. So this is my scorecard. I already told the fellas, so they kind of mad, but who cares? You know what I'm saying? So I actually scored it 115 to 114 for Dillian Whyte. Now, the only round I gave a 10-10, unlike my man David Hay, who had like 3 10-10 rounds, I did give round 10 a 10-10 because it was like so close. Because I'm like, how do you measure which one really got the best of the other person? But everything else to me was clear as day. You know, like Jermaine in the first round, he dominated Dillian. So there's no way it was going to be a 10-10 round. I think David Hay, you know, who was commentating at the fight, I think what he was doing was just showing love to the UK hometown. He didn't want to violate Dillian, which I could understand that it's a sucker move, but I could respect it, you know. But I felt like so I gave Jermaine round 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. So I gave him all those rounds, and I gave round 10 a 10-10 round. And I gave all the other rounds to Dillian. So it was like really, really close. And for me, on my card, it actually came down to the 12th round. The 12th round was what decided who was the victor. And the 12th round clearly was Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? So salute to both gentlemen. Franklin, man, I'm actually proud of you. You know, hopefully you won over some UK fans. You know, continue working. I don't think you should be ashamed of that performance. Just keep going, you know, and I would never, well, depending on who you fight. But usually, normally, I will not defame your name. My man.
Dollar bill.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I end up watching the fight on my phone. I was at the Shaking Crab, and I had got the boil with the Cajun sauce. You know what I'm saying? So I had got they had a lobster tail in there, had some shrimp in there, and had some crab legs in there. Had the corn with the potatoes and all that. So I couldn't score the fight properly because my hands was all messed up. You know what I'm saying? So I could only do the eye test, and I'm watching the fight off my phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching the fight, and I'm like, this boy Jermaine is doing his thing. I was impressed. It seemed like Dillian Whyte is not the Dillian Whyte of old, and it seems like he's fading. You know, when this fight was made, I was like, this is probably a showcase for Dillian, and maybe get him in there with a bigger fight. You know, one last big payday. You know, but it wasn't a good look. It really wasn't a good look. Maybe it was the guy Franklin was really that good, you know, or is Dillian Whyte fading? You know, it left a lot of questions for me. And, you know, he wanted to get up out of there. The fight wasn't even announced. He was trying to get up out the ring. You know, I gotta honestly say I was more impressed with Franklin. I didn't score the fight because, like I said, my hands was all messed up. I had that Cajun sauce on there. You know what I'm saying? So, but Dillian shouldn't be proud with this. If anything, they should probably run it back and do it again. But shout out to the young man Franklin. He didn't come to lay down. So shout out to the young man and Dillian Whyte. Back to the drawing board. This is, I don't know. I'm going to follow the bouncing ball because I want to get live on the next.
All right. So there were a number of things. One, at some point I texted the group and I said, yo, I'm seriously thinking about changing my pick because Dillian's doing some scary stuff. And one of the things I was referring to is, well, at the press conference, he got into it with Jermaine Franklin's promoter. And Jermaine Franklin's just standing there like, relaxed and calm. Then there was their face to face, and Dillian's like, "Oh, you're not from the hood, bruv, and I don't care if you're from the hood. This assassin, and you Americans
Riding Hood, bruv.
Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood, bruv, and you Americans come over here." And Jermaine Franklin's like, "What are you talking about? I haven't said nothing." And it's like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Jermaine's been like one of the most relaxed, calm dudes I've seen in the lead up to a fight. It's like everything he did to rattle Jermaine didn't work. And so you got from that press conference where, he got into it with Jermaine Franklin's promoter. Then you saw the face-to-face where he's trying to get under Jermaine Franklin's skin. But then the last straw to me was when they went to pick the gloves. Dillian Whyte's team was like, "Oh, these gloves were already worn. These gloves are already worn." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" The guy says to from the British Boxing Control, he said, "Where do these gloves come from?" He said, "The manufacturer." So the manufacturer shipped them here to us. When they came from the manufacturer, were they sealed? Yes. The board of British Boxing Control said then they get to use the gloves. Dillian and his team are arguing, saying he got to wear our gloves. So they're trying to get Jermaine Franklin to switch the gloves. And Jermaine Franklin, you can pull this video up, is so calm. And he's like, "Let me try on his gloves." Jermaine Franklin tries on the gloves. He's like, they feel similar to my gloves. Like, why do I gotta wear his gloves? Like, he's like, they feel similar, but I still like my gloves. So they're like, "Okay, Jermaine Franklin, you get to wear your gloves." So Jermaine Franklin wears his gloves. And I'm thinking, Dillian, like, why are you pulling these tactics for a dude who's supposed to be food, bro? Yeah, you understand? Like, this guy's supposed to be your showcase fight, your comeback statement, and you worrying about his gloves, you doing all this. Like, who are you trying to convince, Jermaine Franklin or yourself? Because, see, at some point, I know there's like one of those videos of like this guy just wolfing. And at first, the dudes were like, "All right, we don't want no smoke with him." But he continued to wolf. And that's when he got knocked out. Because sometimes you wolf so much, people realize, he's scared. This is his defense mechanism because he's scared. He don't really want it to go down. And it started to feel that way with Dillian. I'm just like, bro, okay. You tried, let's say hypothetically, you tried to rattle him with the glove situation. It didn't work. It's cool. But they were still going. So then the fight comes. And I'll say this. I scored the fight 115-113. So I thought it was a close fight. I scored a 115-113 for Jermaine Franklin. I thought Jermaine Franklin won. I don't, 10-10 rounds to me are like the rarest of occasions. The only time I give a 10-10 round is when I feel like neither fighter deserves to lose this fight on a decision based on this round. So like a round was so close and both fighters put in so much effort, I say neither one of these guys deserve to lose this fight because of this round. That's when I give it 10-10. I personally didn't see any of those rounds. I thought, to me, there was a definitive winner. Now, Dillian Whyte did good when he was old Dillian, when he was maximum violence. Dillian, right? When he was maximum violence, he would go in there. He did good with Jermaine. He hurt Jermaine. He landed punches. But then there was other things. That whole cross guard thing, it may have worked with Jermaine, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work with Wilder and other people. But we're going to get into that. That cross guard thing, that brings me to another episode where I said I don't know why people hire Buddy McGirt. Every time I see Buddy McGirt in the corner, I root for the other fighter. And when I saw that Dillian had Buddy McGirt going in against Jermaine Franklin, I was like, "Cuz." He's telling Dillian, forget all the other stuff. Get on your stick. Use the jab. Dillian's not known as a jabber. When have you seen Dillian Whyte control a fight with a beautiful jab in his boxing? Never in your life.
Yeah. I ain't even gonna hold you. When I seen Buddy McGirt in the corner, I was like, "Yo, I know bro is having a field day right now." I know bro is having a field day right now.
Yeah, I can't y'all do this to my man, Buddy.
Yeah, I wanted to be there, yo. I wish I was watching the fight with you, bro, because I know you was going off when you see Buddy in that corner.
Hold on, but I'm not even playing devil's advocate. It's clear as day. Every time he stressed the jab, right, to Dillian was when Dillian always got clipped or got hit during those exchanges. So Buddy's just like, bro, all you gotta do is just use the jab against the guy. You got longer reach. You could just beat him that way. So that's why he was saying it. It wasn't like, like the dude was just giving them poor advice. I think that advice made sense. You know what I mean? And think about this during the face-off. Remember, like when Jermaine was talking about, my uppercuts, my bread and butter, blah, 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 blah. That's my shot. So I think that's why he was like, yo, then you're going to have to earn it, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was protecting that chin, son. Like, he just... Protect that chin at all costs,
He just be talking to him. Buddy be just be talking.
Nah, Buddy was
he wasn't saying like, hey, make sure you protect that head, move that head when you throw that jab. You was just like,
yeah, it's the same. Just get on the stick. Just use your stick. We'll go back to using your jab. And it's not only that, G. He's like, just use your jab and don't throw anything else and whatever. Dillian did his best work when he was going to the body, throwing them hard hooks to the body.
Well, he did say that. Remember, he said jab, and if you're gonna throw the hook, throw the hook to the body, not the head. He did say that a couple of times.
Well, like I said, you can sit here. Listen, first of all, G, and I'm gonna be real with you, and I watched that fight. I don't need to watch it again. When he was throwing his jabs, he was still losing. Jermaine Franklin was countering his jabs. You could sit here and try to make it sound cute, like, oh, when he was throwing his jabs, he was still losing. Jermaine was weaving his jab, hooking him to the body. Jermaine was countering over his jab and hitting him to the head. So he was still losing with his jab. So it was actually when he didn't listen to Buddy McGirt and would exchange, when he would actually hurt Jermaine and start winning, bro. I'm telling you, I watched the fight.
No,
if I was in Dillian Whyte's corner, I would say, go for the knockout right now and stop playing with him. And maybe he would have won by knockout.
But I think that's why I didn't want to judge Dillian too much, because I think what we witnessed was Dillian having like corner issues with his team. Like on the real, like Dillian was like,
hey, you making Buddy McGirt.
Whose fault is that?
It's like,
whose fault is that?
No. That's why I didn't go too hard on Dillian, because I'm like, you can see
he
that
picked Buddy.
Listen,
I done don't. No, G, stop it. I done sat here and told the whole boxing world about Buddy McGirt. I done told the boxing world. I was like last year. Probably every year that we've done this show, I have sat here and said, every time I see that a fighter has picked Buddy McGirt, I pick the other fighter. Now, I didn't find out about Buddy McGirt and Dillian Whyte until they showed the press conference. I said, that Buddy sitting there? But I still said Dillian's going to have enough to beat Jermaine Franklin. And I was wrong, because I thought Jermaine Franklin won the fight. Dillian did land some powerful punches. He did win some exchanges. But for the most part, I thought that Jermaine Franklin outworked him. I thought Jermaine Franklin landed the better punches. I thought Jermaine Franklin showed he wanted it more. There were exchanges where, like, when it went down, Jermaine was the one throwing. Jermaine was the one initiated, and Dillian was just standing there. People could say whatever they want. Dillian Whyte looked clumsy. He looked clumsy. At times, he looked like he was unwilling to exchange. And what happened to maximum violence? What happened to that guy? He went from the man who's howling before he gets into the ring. He went from the man who represents maximum violence to becoming the maximum victim. You know what I'm saying? Because he was ready to leave that ring. Like you said, Trill, he was ready to leave that ring. And he wants to
mention, there was one round, the bell saved his life, son.
Yeah. He was like round hurt. 8.
Yeah, he was hurt. And the bell rang.
I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you what saved him. And perhaps I'll get into it a little bit more. Jermaine Franklin's conditioning saved him. This is the problem with the American heavyweights. The American heavyweights have talent. Jermaine Franklin, Andy Ruiz, even a Deontay Wilder. They don't condition themselves to apply pressure and to fight for 12 rounds. That's the problem with the American heavyweights. And you saw it in that 12th round. If Jermaine wins that 12th round, we're talking about a lot of people screaming robbery right now, but a lot more people will be like, yo, his win was definitive. Because from my scorecard, it goes from 115, 113 to 116, 112. And I'm saying, to me, it was convincing. I thought he won enough. But even on my card, around here, around there, Dillian could get the dub, right? But that's because he faded noticeably. You could see him sitting on the stool just looking like he was ready to tip over. If he had better conditioning, Whyte would have been in big trouble. But you know who got that conditioning? Those dudes at the top. And that's what I'm saying. So we'll get into it. My reaction to the fight was Jermaine Franklin is better than I thought, better than we gave him credit for. And salute to Jermaine. He went out there, nothing rattled him. He stayed respectful. He didn't get out of character. His name's the 989 Assassin, but he wasn't the one acting like a gangster and trying to act like a hoodlum out there. That wasn't him. That was other people. You know what I mean? But just imagine if he would have showed his behind the way Dillian was showing his behind. And see, Dillian, that's a tactic. That's a tactic that I noticed that a lot of the UK fighters use against the Americans. They try to provoke the Americans to rile the Americans up and get the Americans to clap back and then make it seem like the Americans are disrespectful. Mm-hmm. But Jermaine never got involved in that. Jermaine said, you know what? I'm going to just stay quiet and let you expose your ass to the world. I'm just going to beat your ass when the time's right. And that's what he did. Dillian, you may have gotten a decision, but you didn't win nobody over with that. And I doubt that many people want to see you in there with the elites, but we're going to get into that in a later segment.
Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We're just getting started. We're the Boxing Bros.